What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
We are here. It's Wednesday evening. Everybody is here. Derek will be back in a second. Mike's here. Nick's here. I'm here. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing fantastic. Can't wait to talk some Star Wars.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Put your name in the comments here. I know Max is here already, so say hello. Appreciate everybody coming on. I know it's you can be somewhere else, you could be doing something, but you guys want to be here with us, and it means a lot to talk to us about Star Wars and hear your input and hear your chats and everything else. So there's Jessica. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Jessica's here, so let me get this started. Make sure that's live on Instagram, and yeah, let's see what we're doing here. Good to go. And we got that. So we have to start off with this.
Naturally.
A little salute from Grogu. So new stuff in Star Wars. There's been a few things that have come out. If you guys watched Mike yesterday, you heard him talk about a bunch of stuff, and he'll do a bunch more stuff tomorrow. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of those things and sort of go on a little bit of a different path for some of the new things that are going on, and some of these characters that might be on a more important path than everybody's realizing. So I'm excited to get into some of that tonight. So Darth Plagueis, Jacob's here. Appreciate you guys jumping on. There's Max again. And what did he say? Surprise Ron, don't have Grogu tapping on the Mando's helmet. That would be cool. That would be a fun one, to have that one where he's just banging the shit out of Mando's helmet. Hey, listen, we're going to blow up. Dumbass, come on, we got to get out of here. So the game, unfortunately, Mike, I was not able to download that little snippet from that you sent me, but we can definitely talk about it. I know definitely you and Derek are gamers, and it was funny in our chat. Nick and I were, and Nick definitely said something, but I was definitely intrigued, and might start playing or have to get a game system to start playing a couple of these games as they come out. So
Not even a real Star Wars fan if you don't play the games.
So, Derek, what's your thoughts on the October, right, Mike?
Yeah,
coming out
October 6th.
6th. Yeah, it
Nice.
was 6 or a 9, 6,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah, there you go.
7.
There you go. Yeah. So
Kelly.
I think the game looks beautiful. I love there's not going to be a huge story mode in it. It's not a story mode type of game. But what I do, Mike's like, maybe there will be. I mean,
there's a little bit of a story there.
Yeah, you
Okay.
always have a little bit, but it's not going to be like Jedi, like Survivor, Fallen Order,
definitely
anything like that. But what I really like is that they showed off with the gameplay. Mike's chocolate, is it a triangle?
That one was rectangle.
Yeah, okay. What they really showed off was the different modes. And what I was wondering was, are you going to have like races where you're having a pod racer going against a speeder? And I'm like, I know that'll be an option, but I loved how they really showed off that like this is pod racing. You guys catch that? No.
Yeah.
Damn. Anyways,
Now this is pod
It's
racing.
working.
thank you. So they have one that's pod
Wizard.
racing, and then they have like just speeders, and they have just this. So it looks like they're doing more thematic races where it's like the different types of vehicles are going to be that speed and that kind of style, which they might be different classes. It might, I'm really excited to see how they do that in the game, but I loved seeing that in the gameplay, that there are separations of that.
Yeah, it is really cool. Like, there's, to what Derek was saying, there's a multiplayer aspect of the game. There's also a single player aspect of the game, but there's also something called like arcade mode, where there's a bunch of different things. And I think that's where you can do like time trials and stuff. You can play as Saboba and race on Tatooine, like really cool stuff like that. And yeah, it's not going to be Jedi Fallen Order or anything, but there is a campaign to it. And you're going to have to win races and obviously beat the bad guy, the whole deal, as per usual. But what's most intriguing to me with any Star Wars game, I guess, is the multiplayer aspect to it. And we haven't had a multiplayer Star Wars game in I don't even know how long. Battlefront 2, which is
Yep.
like 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I don't even know anymore. But either way, it's multiplayer, which is great. And that's what I look forward to the most, because you get to play with other Star Wars fans and people in the community. And you get to customize your own pod racer or speeder bike or whatever. And it's from this new gameplay footage, everything is customizable. The character, the speeder bike, like everything, the engine, like it's really cool.
And those are the fun things about it. When for me, that type of game would be a little bit more up my speed, because I'm able to just sort of go through and drive the pod and, you know, do the pod racing and things like that, where the fighting and the climbing and all that stuff's just, you know, I'd rather watch it and see where the story goes when I can drive this pod racer and, you know, build it and do some fun things, because there's probably not going to be a 3-hour video of what's going on in this, you know, to give me some new canon material to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
Rod,
No, there.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's not gonna be much in terms of like changing the canon of Star Wars, but there'll be some cut scenes, but nothing too crazy. But however, having said that, when I played through Jedi Survivor, there's this cave with a Rancor, and you have to defeat a Rancor, and it took me like 2 hours. I would love to put Ron in that cave with that Rancor and see how long it takes him to come out alive.
Yeah, him talking about like going slow. The game is just like, what is that? I feel like your speed might be like Klieg and trying to ride in his little scooter, his little wheelchair thing, Ron.
Yeah.
How fast can this go?
Yeah.
It'd be like, Ron's not going to
guy-
be on the podcast this week because he's still fighting the Rancor in the game.
Well, even in this pod racing game, you're gonna be like, oh, how hard could it be to drive a pod race? And you're gonna be like the guy whose family comes to watch him at the Boonta Eve Classic in Phantom Menace. You're just gonna be boom right into the pylon.
No, since you talked about that, actually, it did show a lot more of like player eliminations in this playthrough. And that's going to be interesting too, because it looks like you can get eliminated. You can eliminate players, but like in racing games, usually if like you get eliminated, there's a way for you to come back or whatever. You start further back. But I would love to see that if you get eliminated, you're out.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think there is an aspect like that. From what I've heard with the campaign, at least, if you blow up a certain amount of times in a race, you get sent back and have to start over, like the entire race over. So even if you're on the last lap and you're down to 1 life and you blow up right before the finish line, you have to start the entire race over. And that sounds really cool. There's also another aspect to it where you get a league membership badge. And if you lose too many races, come in last too many times, then you lose that badge. And all the progress you've made throughout the entire campaign of the game gets wiped, and you have to go back to the beginning.
I'm paying to stay in the game. How much? What are you getting? More credits? Okay, let me buy some more. Okay.
Ron's buying all the DLC packs and stuff.
The Invincible, you know, you can never die. So I just exactly
the star.
Your wife's gonna have to hide her credit card because Ron's gonna want all the colors of all the ships. It's gonna be great.
It reminded me, you know, I'm not a gamer these days, but when I was in like junior high school, this big PS3 guy, by the way. But there was a
Xbox
game
or bust, buddy.
There was a game, I think only for PS3, don't know. Probably didn't do very well, probably wasn't popular, but if anybody knows a game called Split Second, and it was a racing game and like the cool thing about it was it had a new mode where you could eliminate other racers, and it had that exact mode in it where if you get blown up, you know, a certain amount of times, you're done. Like
isn't that Mario Kart?
That too.
No,
but like it was kind of like I don't know, like the old like Gran Turismo games or Tokyo Drift games. And then if you like got a certain amount of, you know, style points or whatever, like, or passing enough people, you'd be able to like set off bombs on the track and it would like take out people. And it seemed like in the trailer for this game, there's like not just a racing component, there's a, you know, I don't know, very more competitive components to it. And also looks great. I mean, regardless, people who get this game are probably going to go straight to the pod racing thing first. To be like, dude, I'm going to race a Syndulla, and then, so.
Well, Jacob brings up a good point. I don't know if you know, Mike. Do you think they'll include Grievous's vehicle when he's on Utapau?
No. I think it's exclusively land speeders, pod racers, and one other type of vehicle. I'm blanking on the name. So it's just like Luke's land speeder from A New Hope and all vehicles that look like that. The speeder bike from Endor, the speeder bike, all vehicles that look like that. Pod racers, obviously, and all vehicles that look like that. And then I forget what it's called. It's like a somebody in the chat probably knows, but it looks like a pod racer, but it's more of like a land speeder type thing.
If they don't have a mode where we can play the awesome mopeds, I'm gonna
Vespa game?
Really I will be really upset. That's Ron mode. It's like, how do we put it in Ron mode? Like
the Vespas.
Zoom.
That would be awesome. A Boba Fett DLC.
Oh, that'd be so great. That'd be so great.
Yeah. Well, getting back to Nick's point about it being sort of more interactive, there are like special abilities. It's not like picking up a mystery box in Mario Kart, but there is special abilities, and some of the maps have like environmental components to it. Like there's a icy planet where your speeder will actually start to shut down if it gets too cold, and you have to go through these little tunnels that heat up your speeder as you go through. So there's like that type of stuff. But one that was really cool was you have to press a specific button, like X or whatever, circle, I don't know, that turns your speeder like sort of sideways. So if you're going like this, it like bends up like this, because there's going to be small openings that you have to get through, either shortcuts or the map itself, like you've seen in The Phantom Menace, where Anakin has to go like up straight to go through. You're going to have to do that. And again, that's going to be pretty damn hard to do. The people who played this game, got early access and played it for like an hour, they all said that this was a difficult game to play. It's not just like playing Mario Kart with all the, can't fall off the map on and all that. Like it's a difficult game.
What about there were certain like point of view angles, like obviously behind the racer, and then is it optional to have like a first person view, which looked very difficult, or do you have to do that in some cases, do you think?
I'm pretty sure, I'm 92% sure I remember hearing this correctly.
It's a very specific number.
Yes, 92%. I did the math in my head.
92.7.
Yeah, maybe. But that's like a thing you can unlock, and it's not something you have to do. And they did say that first person angle was way harder because you can't see anything around you.
Mm-hmm.
I should turn my whole studio into like one of those pods, like the pod racing thing, because what people don't see here, they just see like darkness behind me. But like I have a massive 65-inch screen here, a 50-inch touch screen, and then a recording console. I could just line TVs up for this. I think maybe I should do awesome. That.
And then put it in first person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I do that?
That'd be sick. You should do that. You should definitely do that.
Yeah. I need more camera angles so you guys can see behind me. Yeah. All right. I know what I'm doing in October.
There we go. Yeah, the game itself just looks really cool. But again, the multiplayer aspect, the ability to just customize your own speeder is going to be so cool.
Nice drink you got there, Nick.
Wait.
There's always a bigger fish.
Let me rip off R2's head real quick.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Mine's not empty, boys.
Mine is now.
Brandon Baker, hello, welcome. Appreciate you being on here. So, what do you guys think of the new game? Is there anybody that's not a gamer, sort of like Nick and I? I know Nick's delved into it a little bit, but Buck Jugs podcast,
change the name.
That might get us some views.
Yeah, right. This is a kid-friendly show. We only get 4 F-bombs on this one and no jugs.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
0 jugs.
I'm out. I thought that was part of the deal.
So Brandon's in with Galactic Racer. I was
Whatever.
looking.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying. I was looking. What's the other game that's coming out?
Zero Company.
Yes, that looks cool as shit.
I think the cutscenes in that will be a lot cooler, and it's sort of like it's Clone Wars. That's when it takes place, but it's like bringing together this group of the best type deal to go on this secret mission. So it's supposed to be canon, I believe, and Anakin's going to be there for a certain portion of it, and people think that the villain might be Asajj Ventress or Dooku. We just see a red lightsaber, so we don't really know. So it's sort of like a special ops sort of game. The actual game itself is turn-based tactics is what it's called, and I'm not really a fan of that type of game, and I know many people are, but I'm just not. And it's not multiplayer. Again, big fan of multiplayer, not multiplayer. This is weird. But I think the cutscenes from that will be more interesting from a Ron perspective, because it's going to be more Clone Wars and probably more meaningful towards something canon, I think.
So correct me if I'm wrong. That type of game is kind of like some of those mobile Star Wars games where you pick and someone moves up the board and so you're not actually playing the person really. You're like making choices and it goes and does stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's sort
it
of
looks
like
better than it sounds, I guess.
Yeah, it's like chess but new.
Okay.
which is huge. Like people
people love
type
that
of game
stuff.
is huge. I've just never played it, but
Yeah, well, sort of like
turn-based
a Dungeons and Dragons type of where you have to think about the next move, or like Brandon said, a strategy type game. Yeah,
There is a Star Wars Dungeons and Dragons type game.
I think I have.
Yeah, it's called
Star Wars Monopoly.
I have one.
No, it's Edge of the Empire.
Oh,
Edge
okay.
of the Empire. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have one.
it.
I have
not
one that's
played it, but I have
Clone
it.
Wars, and it's the pandemic game. You ever played that?
Oh, that's a great game.
And it's Clone Wars themed.
Ooh,
So it's
Okay.
pretty cool.
I
kinda
like
like
a good board game.
It's kind of like Risk
Yeah.
and Catan put together.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment.
It's fun. But so question about games. Now that we're
Yes.
like kind of removed from it, whatever happened with Star Wars Outlaws? Is that kind of still being played, or is that whatever happened with that? Because I remember it was a big deal, like ramp up for it coming out, and then feel like I never heard about it.
Star Wars Outlaws is like the Skeleton Crew of video games.
Okay.
I played it. I loved it. It's open world. It's Star Wars. The problem is not a lot of people played it. Like not a lot of people watched Skeleton Crew. And I think for the most part, people who watched Skeleton Crew loved it. For the most part, people who played Outlaws loved it. The problem with the game was it was single player, like you're playing as Cal Kestis, but now you're playing as Kay Vess. And Kay Vess, unlike Cal Kestis, is not customizable. You can't give her a mullet and a beard. Why would you? But to each their own, I suppose. But she also doesn't wield the Force or a lightsaber. So it's like taking the Jedi games and taking away probably the coolest part. However, you're adding in that this is during the events of the original trilogy, that you can become friends with, or like each decision you make has an impact on your game, sort of thing. So like you can make friends with the Hutts or become enemies of the Hutts. Kira and the Crimson Dawn were in the game. Like it was really cool. I love the story itself. It's this big heist story, and you got to do it's really cool. But it was open world. It lacked a multiplayer aspect, and it lacked your main character wielding a lightsaber. I think that's really what was the downfall of that game.
Yeah. I didn't play it, and normally I love open world games. But the fact that there was no customization, open world, and not multiplayer was like reason for me. I was like, nah, I'm good.
If it was just Star Wars Outlaws, you could make your own character and join a multiplayer lobby like it's GTA, it would be the biggest game ever. But it was just missing those two little little pieces. Yeah.
Do you think, is there any indication that Outlaws is kind of like Star Wars open world practice for developing
I hope
like
so.
something later, like whatever they do with KOTOR or, you know, that sort of thing?
I certainly hope so, because I just remember Tatooine's one of the playable planets, so you can go across all of Tatooine, pull up to the cantina in Mos Eisley, or go to Jabba's palace, and on the way you could come across a crate dragon going through the sand. Like, it was so cool. But I hope that, yeah, that's what they're doing. Like, they take the structure of that and put it into something like KOTOR or something. That'd be great. Somebody mentioned the stealth aspect of it too. It was a stealth game for the most part. There was a lot of levels you could get through just trying to, like, you know, shoot your way out, but there were certain levels that you couldn't even be seen, or else you'd lose the level. And I remember myself being very frustrated by that, just wanting to shoot my way out, but it was too stealth. And then, like, probably 6 months after release, they got rid of that. So they were like, even in the stealth missions, you can shoot your way out, but it was already too late.
Yeah. You know, I think they just need to give people what they want, and that's Red Dead Redemption as Star Wars.
Pretty much.
I mean, but you can't count on Rockstar to do anything. How long does it take them to put out GTA 6?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah,
And
don't.
two of the best-selling games with GTA and Red Dead, and they're like, yeah, we're still making money on those. We're not going to do any of that. Every time we have Halloween or something, we put out new skins that you can buy that do nothing for the game.
Yeah, I think Lucasfilm thought that Fortnite, that deal with Epic Games, was going to be that for them, like a GTA meets Star Wars, but it's just not working.
And I will say, as someone who works with youth in a tech center, that they play a lot of Fortnite, none of them use Star Wars. Not a single kid that has ever been in that space, of the hundreds of kids that have played Fortnite in my tech center, have ever used Star Wars.
Now, why do you think that is?
Because they don't care.
Yeah, the 3 game modes, one of them sounds really cool. It's just Battlefront. That's what it is. But smaller scale. It's 10v10s, and it looks cool, but it's still Fortnite. And I would rather it be more realistic, because Fortnite, it's very cartoonish. Sure. But the other 2 game modes, one's like a run from Vader, which is kind of cool, but if you've done it like once, then you've done it. And then the other one is Droid Tycoon, which is very much just like a mobile game type deal. And yeah, so people would rather just go play Battlefront 2, which is an 8-year-old game, than go play the Fortnite one.
Yeah. And, you know, I've had people ask too, like, because I've brought this up before, and they're like, do you think kids aren't doing it because the kids just don't like Star Wars? I'm like, no. I've had kids wearing Star Wars shirts that are like, I don't want to play as those characters, because they're usually pretty bulky. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know, they like, most of them play as girls because they're smaller. And it's a gameplay thing.
Well, Battlefront 2 too is still going strong. It hasn't had an update in 6 years, but it just broke its record for most concurrent players this last May, again, because they have the resurgence every May.
Yeah. And I agree with Brandon. He's saying GTA will never compare to Star Wars. No, and that's not what I'm saying. I want like an open world fighting, like, multiplayer game, kind of like that idea, where you have vehicles, you can fight against your friends, you can fight against random people, you can team up with your friends. That's what I want. Or like Sea of Thieves, but Star Wars, you know, when you have ships and different things like that. There's so many things that I would love to see, because, I mean, Knights of the Old Republic could easily be that kind of game.
Do you think Knights of the Old Republic would be closer to like a Skyrim?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like a
Ron's
very
over here like,
large
I have
story.
no idea what they're talking
What that is.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I would like to see is like a building aspect, where it's like you can build, you know, outposts and things like that. Maybe even more like a Conan, or what was some other games that are doing that. There's other games, but I just want to like interact with my friends. I just I want to have that online ability, and I want to grief. I'm a massive griefer when it comes to video games. Like every now and then, like every 6 months, I'll jump back on Red Dead and just grief some people for like a week, and then I put it away.
Well, to that
What
point
does that
though,
mean? What is
Griefing is like you just kill people on the game just to be a jerk.
just yeah.
and then you just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So that-
Max Rebo said StarCraft set in Star Wars. Yes.
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 So like what was that big game where you could go to like infinite planets? It was this huge
No
game.
Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yes.
Amazing
that-
game.
That but Star Wars or Helldivers but Star Wars, like that would be so you see all these games like Helldivers get modded to look like Star Wars. Like people obviously want it. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. No Man's Sky with a little bit more structure in
Yeah.
Star Wars. I mean, they already have everything's already built. They have so many ships. They have so many aliens. They have all of the fleet out there. Like, could you imagine going to a planet in Thrawn and the whole Empire fleet is out there?
It would be awesome.
Hey, well, you guys are talking about games. Me and Nick are gonna. We'll be right back.
Yeah. We'll see you
Oh
tomorrow.
yeah. Shin Hati, where were we?
Yeah, Shin Hati.
She can be in the game, too.
That's a very good. That's a very good segue. So,
Oh, neat.
because again, you know, and so I'm going to try something new because you guys know, and I think most people here also watch Mike on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So again, there's so much information that he has on there, and I don't want to repeat it, but I want to be able to talk about things, what the new stuff and things that are coming out, like he is, but sort of in a different way. So. We sort of did this a little bit last week, but I got a couple questions and a couple things in reference to characters and different things like that, which if you guys saw the thumbnail, you know, that's sort of what we want to talk about a little bit tonight and see where some of these characters are going and if they're still going to be around and things like that. So I want to know from you guys what you think, and everybody in the chat as well. I'd be interested to know, you know, who has the brightest future right now in Star Wars, do you think? And in which character is going to be more important 5 to 10 years from now than we actually realize today? And I'm going to give you, and if you have somebody different than what I have, awesome. But if not, I'd be interested to know if you guys think any of these or all of these characters are going to be, you know, continuing to build in a little bit more than we know, like Shin. A lot of people aren't sure, you know, what's going on with her. So Grogu, Shin Hati, Ezra, Jacen, and Baylan. Those are the ones that I came up with. I think they have a little bit different path than we might think, but I'd be interested to see who you guys think has the brightest future, because we've talked about Grogu and maybe that's somebody's answer, but we've talked about Grogu being like, okay, he's been in 3 seasons of The Mandalorian. He's got his own movie. I think he's going to step back a little bit and still be a main character, but not at the front of the movie and not the main character in that whole movie. So, Nick, do you have an idea who you think might? Holly already went in there with Ezra. Nice.
Yeah. I think of that group, like you just said, we had a whole like segment a few weeks ago about Grogu. I think in the real world, Grogu's got the brightest future. He's just a marketing icon, you know, like in our world, I think that's like the clear answer. But in Star Wars, I think the person of that group who has the biggest immediate future is Baylan, because I think this will be it for him. But I think he'll be like one of the more interesting parts of this next story we're getting, if that makes sense. And then, and for the same reasons, Ezra, because we didn't really get a ton of them. And now I think we're assuming we're going to get a lot of them, especially if the leaks are, you know, correct. But I think in terms of immediate bright futures, I think this guy, Baylan, is going to have a pretty big splash. Because I think he was probably the most interesting new thing in Ahsoka to everybody, right? Or one of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
great
all really, yeah, and
great character.
the recasting like is unfortunate, RIP, but like I think everybody's really interested to see what that's like. I think they were taking that character very seriously. That's not to say that Shin doesn't have a brighter future beyond this next season. I think she could, but I think Balin's probably done after Ahsoka, in which case I think he's got like a really bright burning out star right now out of that group. And then Ezra, I think by default does. And I see people mentioning Thrawn. And I would agree with that, but to me, out of that group, the most immediate answer would be Balin. I think everybody wants to see that the same similar way to the Thrawn stuff. I think Ezra will get more screen time than him, which could, mean something. But that's where I'm at.
No, I like that. And Thrawn. I mean, even somebody had mentioned Rada. I mean, we could get to see him, but I think even somebody like Rod, I think we'll see some more of him, but he won't be, this big shining star where, some of these other ones could be. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to bring up Thrawn too, just because, if we're getting an Heir to the Empire movie or hopefully a trilogy, well, he's going to be the main villain of all those movies. And he's going to be the main villain of Ahsoka season 2 as well. So if you're looking at the future of villains, Thrawn is definitely going to be the guy. I agree that Balin's probably going to go out. I don't see a world where he survives Ahsoka season 2, honestly. I just don't know how he would come out of that alive. Shin Hati, I could see being the future if she becomes Abeloth, which would be something. But I guess my out of left field answer would be Devon Izara.
Okay.
And even more so would be Omega. Because I think these two coming out of animation obviously are set up for a way larger purpose in live action, specifically Omega, with her being the only person we know of that can transfer the midichlorians to create Snoke in the first place. But with Thrawn now in power, with the setup of Mount Tantus, and the possibility of Thrawn being the reason that Snoke comes to power in the First Order Rising, Omega's going to play a role in that. And I think whatever story is told coming up here, she's going to be a big part of that. And then I'm going to take it away from Derek before he says it. It's Cal
You
Jedi 3, and he's coming to live action.
Bye, y'all.
He's coming to live action. Yeah, Cal Kestis is definitely a big part of the near future.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Derek,
agree.
go ahead.
Yeah, well, that was all I had to say. No, actually, so Ron, your original question was in 10 years. I think Grogu will be a part of that, but I don't think any of them in 10 years are going to be the prominent character. I think it's going to be somebody completely different, because if we look back 10 years, 11 years, really, we got a few characters. Now, which of those characters are still really popular? Kylo Ren is probably the most popular of those movies. It's not Rey. She's the main character, but it's Kylo Ren. You look at merchandise, you look at, I'm looking at going to the parks and what kids are buying and what people have. It's Kylo Ren stuff. So I think that it'll be somebody from the new movie, probably. There you go. Exactly. So I think the most important person is going to be somebody probably from this new movie or someone we haven't seen yet. I think Grogu will be involved. I would love to see Thrawn be that person that long. I just don't think it's going to happen for another 10 years. And yes, Cal Kestis, that was going to be my thing. I was going to say, you're both wrong. It's Cal Kestis, but Mike took that from me, and so it's fine. I think it's going to be somebody we have yet to see.
I think it depends, like you said, Derek, like what does Starfighter tee up? And that'll probably be what 10 years from now, everything's kind of derived from. And I also wonder, I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, what we're seeing about Lucasfilm focusing on the New Republic era for the next little while. Like, does that mean they're focusing on rounding it out with an Heir to the Empire thing? Or does that mean that's where we're staying? Starfighter obviously is not a part of that. So it's I tend to be with Derek on that. Like whatever Starfighter tees up is going to be the long-term Star Wars thing.
Jan brought up a good point. Rey's popularity is underestimated a bit. I think so in a fashion. I think younger people, Rey is very popular, especially younger girls, which is awesome. Where I see that faltering is that they're just not selling Rey merchandise, and they know it, so they're not going to push it out. And with movies being canceled and different things or different projects of hers being canceled or shelved or whatever. Also, you have to look at the Rise of the Resistance ride. Like Rey is in it, but not very much. And as things progress, Disney redoes the rides a lot. And that ride is one, there's so much in it that would have to be redone. I don't even know what they would do. So it's probably going to be it's going to be a ride that's around for 20 plus years without a change. But I just, so Austin says, what even is Rey merch? Like if you look at her lightsaber, her hilt did not sell well. They were selling it at the character warehouse for, $50 because they couldn't sell them very much. When you go to the parks, a lot of it is like her stick, her staff, and her clothes. Really, that's it. Not action figures. And let's be real. I've said this a million times. Disney is about selling merchandise.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do.
Yeah. And that's why like Kylo Ren's got a mask, and a mask can sell a lot better than anything else, really. But to that point, I really like the Rey hilt. I know it's awesome. I like the purple. I mean, I like the yellow blade too. I really like yellow, but it is really cool. But it was only in one scene at the end of the trilogy. Like if she used it throughout Rise, it might have been different. Or
yeah, that's true. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the recent leaks from last week were that they're looking for actors and actresses that are unknown that are 18 to 25 for the next trilogy or whatever. So if we're really looking 10 years into the future, that's probably going to be our main characters is those people. But to that point too, hopefully beyond that, 10 years from now, we're beyond that Simon Kinberg trilogy that Alexander's talking about right here. And we are at the Old Republic. So hopefully our main character is all the way back to 2003 with Darth Revan.
Yeah. Or do you think we could even get a character like Maul, where we get somebody that's really short-lived that they didn't put a lot of stock in, and then fans just freak out?
That could happen too.
Who would that be, though?
We don't know. I mean,
Snoke.
Well, I think so. From the grandstands, like the casual fans, that could be Thrawn, right? Like we, of course. He's a legend, but if people become enamored, if there's a movie that Thrawn is in and people love it, there's going to be a lot of casual Star Wars fans who have never really, experienced him before. That could, to of course, like with merchandise and Disney trying to reach, broader audiences, like that could be a big one that we all kind of expected is cool, but like kind of blows up. I just have this fear, kind of like what you were saying, Derek, that I don't think Thrawn is going to be around as long as we want or think. Like I think his exit from everything will feel earlier than it should be, but it'll probably be necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't see 10 years from now, Thrawn as we know him right now being still a thing.
Well, then I'm going to take the statistic way out and say that it's going to be Vader, because Vader's been the most prominent character for the last 50 years.
Smart. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of chatter about Anakin in the chat as well. And Jan said if Jar Jar and Annie can make a comeback, so can Rey. I think Rey did really well to start, for sure. Whereas Jar Jar, I think Anakin did pretty well. I mean, I remember that when those movies came out, I thought it was amazing. But yeah, even still, like I think they're gonna probably do something else with Rey. I hope they do it, even if it's animation or more with comic books or whatever. Like we need more of her story.
Mhm.
There's a Leia and Rey book coming out next month.
Oh,
you go.
see, yeah.
Yeah,
So
should be.
we're not done with Ray. I just think
Yeah.
you know.
I have a hard time believing Kinberg's trilogy doesn't have
Oh, Rey,
anything
yeah,
to
she's
do
in it
with
for sure.
Rey or Poe or Finn.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna go out on a limb, but hey Shelby and Cody, appreciate you guys joining us. I know everybody's jumping in here, so we got a bunch of people, so I appreciate y'all jumping in. Just to flip back to that question, I'm going with Jacen. I think that he could be around in, especially in 5 years, if not 10 years, to have something to do with possibly Grogu and what else is going on with Ezra as we see this whole new Ahsoka season 2 unfold. And I think it's gonna bring a lot of questions up, but I also think it's gonna answer some questions as well. So I think it'll be interesting to watch him grow, to see how he advances through all this. And I think they purposely, obviously, as they always do, made that episode and that scene. It was a lot of moving parts, but for him to be so focused and so persistent about how much he hears, and he can hear something in the water, and he's able to pretty much save Ahsoka. So I think he has a bigger part as we go on in the next few years to see what's going to happen. But I agree with you guys with Cal. I think he'll definitely come in, because if we bring him in now, Cameron's not. I mean, in 5-10 years from now, Cameron still could be a decent age to play a Jedi. He's not going to be 80 years old or anything like that. So I think Cal could definitely be one too. And we've already used so much of him in these first 2 games, and now the third game coming out, his character's getting more popular and more popular, and these games are huge. I mean, those are the ones. If anybody was like, oh, do you know a Star Wars game? It's Jedi Survivor, and all those, they're the games that are on the tip of everybody's tongue because they're so good. And obviously, what was it, Battlefront? But I think those are the things that are going to bring some of these characters into the light the next few years that we're not really sure about. And I also think Shin could definitely place, be around in the next 5 to 10 years, depending on what they end up doing with her at the end of Ahsoka. So Ahsoka is going to answer a bunch of questions for us, but I think it's also going to give us a bunch of unanswered new questions to what's going on in these movies, whether it's Dave or it's Kinberg's, and things like that. So I think that'll be interesting to see what's going on. But I think that it's changing a little bit the direction that we're going, and change is always good. But somebody's going to be bitching about one character or another. But I think it's going to be fun to watch what's going on with these newer characters that are just like it was with Ahsoka. As we watched Ahsoka grow in 7 years of Clone Wars, and then we see her in Rebels, and now she has her own show. I mean, nobody thought about that when you saw this little 8, 10, 12-year-old Ahsoka was like, what's this goofy looking, she's gonna be Anakin's apprentice. Okay, whatever. And now she's, killing it. So
go ahead.
I was gonna say Max Rebo said, didn't Mike Jacen? And I did.
Yeah.
I was the one that said I don't think Jason's gonna survive long. And
I think Jacen will be around for a while. But
I do not.
You bring up a great point, Ron. Like, Ahsoka was introduced 18 years ago. Nobody expected her to get her own show by now, and still 18 years later, we're still talking about her as a main character. So you could be looking at anybody really and saying the same thing.
Mhm.
I do like the idea that Jacen Syndulla is somewhat similar. He is still older, but somewhat similar in age to a Ben Solo. Like, if we got a sort of, I guess, Ahsoka versus Maul type fight between Jacen and Ben Solo as he falls to the dark side at Luke's Jedi Temple, that would be awesome.
Mhm.
I guess the idea would be to pretty much plant the seeds of familiar faces that we know in Luke's Jedi Temple, so that when Kylo actually does, or Ben actually does fall, then it's more meaningful because we care about those characters. It's like the prequel trilogy all over again. We didn't care about Order 66 until we knew the characters that were dying in them in the actual scene. We didn't really care too much that the Clone Wars even happened until we learned what the Clone Wars actually was.
Yeah.
I've always pictured that Jason's probably the one piloting the Ghost in Rise.
Yeah,
You know?
probably.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
could see. I like the idea. We talked about it last week that maybe he doesn't do Luke's thing and does something else, kind of like Ahsoka doesn't chill out at Luke's. She goes and does her own thing, like that sort of thing. And it'd be interesting if Jacen grows up to be, you know, a Force-sensitive rebellion hero who's kind of into Jedi stuff, but kind of still, you know, hero fighter type guy, which would be exactly what Finn would probably struggle with if he were to take up Jedi stuff. Like I think Finn's thing,
Yeah.
I think Finn would struggle with getting discipline and staying in one place doing Jedi stuff and not going out and helping Poe and company, you know, handle business. And like Jacen would be a representative of what that looks like versus whatever Rey's doing is going to look like. And for that reason, I feel like they wouldn't kill off Jacen until he's an adult, you know. But I don't know. I kind of like the someone put in there that he could go dark. I don't know if we know him enough yet to like for that to hit. So I think he'd have to be around for a little while. But
yeah, like if his mom died, then he would have reason to go dark.
Yeah, and we're pretty much unanimous that that's going to happen, right? Like the four of us think that is what's going to happen.
That she's going to die.
Yeah.
The hair.
Yeah. That's why, like, I think who just said that? Jan. Like, I don't think it's Hera being old thing. I think Hera's going to die prior to.
She's getting mic'd.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with them because, yeah, I think Jacen and you brought up another good point, Mike. Omega, you know, we got to see Omega here again, and see what's going on with her. And you, go ahead.
Well, and you don't have to cast her either. You just put Tamara Morrison in a blonde wig, and your job is done.
Right. That would be fantastic. Which he just came out saying how he wants to play Rex.
Yeah,
I mean, he said that before, but he said it again, like like last week or something.
I was wondering. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say because Rex is definitely gonna be in Ahsoka season 2.
I was wondering, Ron. I don't know if you saw this or if you were doing your tattoo contest in 2022, but when I was at Celebration, if anyone in the chat was at Celebration, at the main stage, randomly out of nowhere, Tamara Morrison just goes on the main stage and someone like did an impromptu interview with him, and he was wild. And he just like ignored like his last question. He ignored the question and took the microphone and stood up and tried to get the crowd to sing "Give Me the Beat, Boys, and Free My Soul." Like tried to get everyone to do it, and no one knew what was going on. And I was like, man, I love this makes me love him more, but like, I don't know if he's going to be back for a while. Like, I don't know if, you know, anyway, just felt like sharing that story.
That's pretty good. No, I didn't see that. That
Austin knows what I'm talking about.
That's got to be on. I wonder if that's on YouTube somewhere.
It's got to be.
It is.
I think I have a video of it.
Interesting to look that up.
Yeah, that wasn't this past Celebration. It was the one before.
It was in 2022.
Last one here, right?
Yeah.
The last two have been overseas.
Anyway,
so the next thing I was wondering is with all of these characters that because we have so many new characters and so many young characters in here, and we see a lot of these things going on, but I thought it would be interesting to see what you guys think about some of the possibilities of who we might see teaming up next or pairing up. You know, somebody like Ahsoka and Luke at some point, or Ezra and Grogu, Din and Rex. You know, I mean, how cool would that be to, like we were just talking about with Rex, to have Din and Rex, you know, somewhere along the way. You know, we have Shin and Balin. You know, are they gonna come back together? Is something gonna happen? If she ends up being Abeloth, that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out with Balin. So, and then maybe even Grogu and Jacen. Is there is anybody that comes to mind that you guys can think of that that in the future, Oregon Kimbergs or anything that's going on in the next few years, who's going to be a good team up? We're getting the Rey and Leia book. I mean, there's a perfect example right there. Zeb and Lando. That would be pretty awesome.
Awesome.
That'd be a great duo.
That's great. 50 Thunder.
Jeez, that would be so good. Yeah. They're in the ghost.
Derek, what do you think?
I don't know.
This is really tough.
Just I don't know.
I think we can just like blurt them out.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat is Rada and Grogu. That would, have them back together again.
Oh, Rada, yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or Rada and Rex.
Well, yeah. I mean, speaking of Tamura Morrison, I think that'd be an awesome cameo for them to bring him in, put a white beard on him, and have him exist non-flashback style. And it would work.
What am I thinking? Cal and Marin.
Oh yeah, there you go.
How about
Dangar? That would be cool.
That would be
I'd
cool.
love to see some of the older bounty hunters come back, which would be neat, or at least maybe that species, maybe a new Bosk, something like that, or Lone 4, would be cool to have some different ones, come back in reference to the bounty hunters.
How about an old duo, I guess, from the Bad Batch days of Omega and Hera Syndulla, because they knew each other when they were really young, but have them be in live action, or even from season 3 Bad Batch, but now in live action in the Mandoverse, Asajj Ventress and Omega. Those two know each other too. I think Asajj Ventress is coming to live action. I mean, they don't just do Tales of the Underworld for nothing last year with her getting an apprentice.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to see her, and it'll be interesting to see who they cast, because there's so many things. I did the one thing on Taylor Joy or whatever her name is, but there's so many cool actresses out there that would be great for that. But I think if you bring her into live action, that's going to be amazing, and that'll be something I think that we will see in, maybe possibly Ahsoka, but definitely in Dave's 3 movies for sure.
I think if the situation's dire enough, there's a higher likelihood than I would probably think of Ahsoka and Baylan needing to come together a little bit, depending on whatever they
I like that.
Run into. Because someone's staying there. If we think Ahsoka or Baylan are not getting off of Peridia, then I think they will have to work together because of whatever reason they're there for.
I think that's a great possibility, and I think we'll probably see that in this new season, because like you said, if they're both on that same planet and they're headed towards that way, or at least we assume that Sabine and Ahsoka are going to be headed that way as soon as something happens, and Baylan's going to be there as well. So if it ends up being Abeloth, who might be this horrendous villain, Baylan might have to switch gears and help Ahsoka, put her back in her place, or vice versa,
Yeah, Baylan might be getting played this entire time. Like, he might be thinking he's looking for something, but then when he gets there, and if it is Abeloth, and it's not what he expected, and she's just trying to get free by using him, he's not going to be on board with that. So I agree that could definitely happen with Ahsoka and Baylan teaming up. The one that came to mind for me, though, just looking at my surroundings and Ron's screen with R2D2, is R2 and Ben Solo, like a young Ben Solo, as sort of they train or go across the galaxy together on missions and stuff. Like, getting to see that, maybe an animation would be cool.
Yeah, that would be a fun, because R2's been around for so long and he knows everything, which is so cool. And I'm sure at first it would be fun for him. He's like, oh, okay, cool. You know what? I got Han and Leia's kid, and I'm teaching him, and I'm helping him, and then all of a sudden he turns into this,
Yeah. Well, it would be like R2 seeing it again, because he's been around all the Skywalkers. He was around Anakin while he fell, and
Yep.
You even have that little dialogue between C-3PO and R2-D2 in Revenge of the Sith, where R2's like, "Yeah, this guy's not doing too good." But to see him sort of watch another Skywalker fall would be cool.
Yeah, because when they talk about C-3PO getting his memory wiped again, R2's like,
Yeah, it's like not
he's
me.
laughing at him because he knows.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. But my thing with Jacen is I think that Jacen Syndulla is going to have a big part in Ahsoka, more than we think, and I think they set him up in season 1 for, again, with the whole Ezra thing, where they could possibly, he could possibly train him, and if Sabine comes back as well. But I also like the theory where Mike says, if Hera does die, what does that do to him? Does that turn him into, okay, now I'm just going to go and, whether it's Thrawn or whoever it is, I'm just going to go, be the good person that I am, but I'm going to kill the bad guy? Or is that going to make him flip and turn to the dark side?
Yeah.
But the only thing with that, from my perspective, I think that would almost be too much like the whole Anakin thing.
Yeah, I
because
think
we already have a mom who's died, and now Anakin's turned. So I think that would be interesting if they did that, but I don't know if they would, because it would almost be like a deja vu.
Well, when Ezra sort of falls because of Maul in Rebels, the person that brings him back is Kanan, and maybe Ezra can be that for Jacen, but if he's not, Kanan's not there. Like, his dad's gone, so he doesn't have that sort of guy to bring him back unless it's going to be Ezra. But Ezra doesn't even know that Jacen exists at this point. Like, he doesn't even know that he's a thing. So
talk about an important team up, like them just meeting.
Yeah,
kind of gonna be a big moment in the show.
Yeah, because Sabine, we assume, tells Ezra about everything, and one of those things that she tells Ezra in Ahsoka season 1 is that Hera has a child, and he's gonna be like, "What? Like, you didn't know that?" So, yeah, that'll be a good relationship too.
I think this is actually pretty good. Krennic director.
Yeah,
I mean, very, very true. And that's the hard part, I think, for us now, as we're in between these things, to try to figure out what's going on, to what's going to happen in Ahsoka, what's coming up in Maul Shadow Lord again. Yeah. And because, again, some of the things that we've talked about in the last few months leading up to the movie, leading up to Maul, some of the things came true, but we were surprised by a whole bunch of things too, which is awesome. And that's the cool thing about Star Wars, where they keep these secrets like that. And we get to talk about them like this, 2, 3, a year and a half in advance before some of these movies come out. And then we get to see them and we're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Maybe that came through. And oh, I didn't even see that coming. Yeah. Those are the fun things, I think.
This time last year, when we were doing this podcast in June of 2025, none of us were sitting here talking to each other going, oh, we're going to get Maul versus Vader in one of the coolest lightsaber duels we've gotten in decades. And we're also going to get Rod of the Hutt as a main character of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, who, steals the show. And he's his own man, of course.
Well, and also, like,
nobody was saying that.
I don't know about you guys, but I make like crazy bold predictions, because those are the ones that, if they come true, you're one of the only ones that said it.
Yeah. If you were sitting here last year going, Rod is going to be his own man, then you would be like the coolest guy in town. But that only happens if you make crazy predictions.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's the thing, is like, we're a show, like we're a podcast, and we're talking about Star Wars. Like, if you just want to make vanilla predictions, like, okay,
yeah,
you can watch Screen Rant, like.
And I think kind of what we're doing is more like trying to reason with what could happen. I feel like we're pretty clear when we're making a hard prediction, and with Star Wars it's so tough because we're always predicting based on trailers, which are always very misleading and contain pretty much like the first episode of something, or the first 10 minutes of something, and we just have at it. But Derek's right. Like, if you land one, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, like
Didn't it?
I'm gonna put on my headstone that a week before the episode came out, I predicted that Andor was going to have a baby.
Yeah.
And I
You
said that
did.
because they had that one camera shot of her and they like panned out and it didn't show her pregnant or anything. And I'm like, she's gonna get pregnant and it's gonna be Andor's.
There you go.
$2 billion.
my-
That'll
$2
be
billion.
on your
And yeah, Ron and I were right on that mark with that one.
It'll
So I
say,
said,
yeah.
so I said, I
Here
got
lies
one.
Derek.
That's it.
Here lies
Matt-
Derek.
Matt-
He predicted that correct, but $2 billion way off.
Wah, wah. I like Max has a good point because I know you guys were talking about this earlier. That could be very true. That could be something that Sabine did because tell Ezra off screen where he,
Yeah.
you know, again the little things on the beginning of this the movie where we sort of see what's going on or it sort of catches us up. I don't know how they're going to start off with Ahsoka this year, but I think that could definitely be a possibility where you don't have to bring that type of emotional thing in there because that's going to take some explanation and it's also going to take some sort of meeting and some feelings and stuff like that, which maybe they do have him in there for that, but I think it would be faster to have, you know, Sabine already tell him, hey, listen, by the way, you know, Hera's got a kid. He rolls up in there and he's, you know, so I thought that was sort of interesting that Max brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, a lot was probably told off screen because when we sort of catch up with them, Ezra's like the classic, you know, saying what she just said over again. He's like, the Empire is gone. This happened. That Zeb is now a pilot.
Right.
Hera's a general. So
Yeah.
she told him a lot. We just don't really know the full extent, I guess.
Is maybe the more mysterious question how much Ezra told her about what's been going on there.
Yeah,
so
I know.
So they know what they're in for now that they're stuck.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know?
has Ezra happened upon those Mortis God statues in his time there?
Right.
Like, does he know what's going on? Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I think the fun part about what we're going to figure out what's going on with Thrawn. You know, is he coming back? Is this going to end up being the bad guy, or is he coming back going, you know, there's something back in this other galaxy that might be coming this way. I'm just trying to let you guys know that.
Another aspect of that too, I feel like because there's so many interesting possibilities, I feel like I keep forgetting about the Night Sister angle, which is pretty, you know, heavy in the Thrawn stuff right now. That might be done because it's just a means to an end for him, and it's our familiar face to link Peridia to our galaxy and Dathomir and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But it was a pretty heavy angle in Ahsoka to explain, you know, the importance of Morgan Elsbeth and all that kind of stuff. But I wonder if there's something that Thrawn's after that requires more of that, you know. Maybe all he needed was a base and he'll return all the coffins. You know, I don't know. But
yeah. Well, I don't think Dathomir is really going to be his main base for long because from all the leaks we're getting for Ahsoka season 2, that main fight is going to be on Dathomir. So like he's not going to stay there long if that's the case.
Yeah.
However, I do agree with you. And going back to it, nobody was predicting that we would, for Ahsoka season 1, that we would get a new galaxy in the first place, but that galaxy was going to actually be where the Night Sisters are from. If you said that, you'd sound like a lunatic, but you would be right.
Bold prediction.
They're like, this idiot, but then he ends up being right. Yeah, so I agree with you. I think the Night Sisters are not just a throwaway thing. They're going to be a big part in this second season, in particular, at least.
Now, do you guys think that Thrawn in this season will physically mic anyone? Like, because in some of the books, like he's got a blaster and he's done some work.
Yeah. Yes, Jacen Syndulla.
Ooh. Hand to hand.
All right, we need to write these bold predictions.
Blaster to face.
And timestamp them. He said it here.
All right. Well, hey, we might as well.
It's that time again for Mic Drop.
Here we go.
Predictions, hot takes, galactic consequences, and who's not making it out alive.
All right.
Wait, let me rewind that. Wait. Blaster to the face. Harrison Dula, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
That's a bold prediction, and I think if it comes down to that, I mean, probably not interface, but
Yeah,
you know, but
leg
yeah,
first.
I mean, it could be
Left kneecap and then right shoulder and then straight through the stomach.
right through the heart.
So
Yeah.
to Derek's question, like, are we gonna get like a physical Thrawn? Is Mickelson up to that sort of thing? Is that his deal as an
Yeah.
actor?
I don't know, because last time you see Thrawn, at least in animation, is in Rebels, and he is like full combat mode Thrawn. Like he's training with the droids and all that.
Mhm.
Right.
But this is 11 years older Thrawn. But also, what else was he doing on Peridia? Like he was probably still training the entire time
Having snacks.
and eating a lot of snacks, of course.
Yeah.
I will say one of the leaks for Ahsoka Season 2 did almost jokingly say that Lars Mikkelsen is in better shape for the second season. And maybe that's because of some, not just because people called him fat in the first season, which is just insane, but also maybe because there's some physical scenes in Season 2.
Yeah.
Derek, if he gets the lizard, then a resounding yes is I think the answer.
All right.
That's what was that. I think that was when I was on your podcast the other day, Mike. I think that would be amazing if he gets. What's the name of that creature that you
The Use Salamari.
yeah, on his shoulder. So again, when someone like Ezra during Ahsoka walks up, he thinks he's going to do some Jedi stuff on him, and he's like, "Shit, that didn't work. What's going
We
on?"
know it doesn't matter for Sabine though, so like she's not force sensitive.
Yeah, she tried the Force and then it wouldn't work, and then she'd be like, "Okay,
Where's that
man,
lizard thing at? And he's like, I don't have one. She's like, no, you definitely do. It's in here somewhere. And he's like, no, I don't.
that would be a
Like, oh
great
my-
scene."
That would be Lego Star Wars right there.
Yes, yeah. But to that point, though, that to us it would be like, okay, this is really cool because we know what this is. To somebody who's just has zero knowledge of the Legends, Heir to the Empire trilogy, or these creatures in general, they would be like, holy crap. Like that would be a crazy big twistaroo type thing. You're like, Ezra's got him, we won, and then nope, we don't. Like, because he can't even wield the Force. That would
Yeah.
be really cool.
I don't know how
I
much
think-
lore they would bring into that, but that would be pretty awesome.
I think he's gonna have a high kill count, but I don't know how many hand to hand, like
Yeah.
if he gets a big win like we think he will,
Yeah. And somebody in the chat will have to help us out because I've only read through the first phase of the High Republic books, but I'm pretty sure that there is a creature of some sort in the newer the High Republic books that either something to do with the Force, where in Legends the Use Salamari have the ability to reject the Force because of this creature that's in the High Republic books. Somebody's going to really have to fact check me on that one. But I know for a fact that there is a creature that's very, very strong with the Force. And I guess, logic would be if there's a creature like that, then there's a creature that has to evolve to survive against that. And that would be the Use Salamari that can reject the Force. And if that's the case, if we're tying it back to the High Republic books, that would be another really cool Easter egg for the people who love those books as well.
Yeah, that would be a really cool flash or Easter egg for that. And those are the cool things that I love about this stuff. When we get things like that you have to be a fan to understand that.
Yeah.
So Papa Boz, to answer your question, maybe you guys can tell me as well, but I don't think there's going to be that much of a time jump in Ahsoka. I think they're going to be right back on Peridia. It might be a couple weeks or a couple months or something where they're, while Hera's talking to maybe the council saying, hey, you know what, this guy's Ezra's back, Thrawn's in the galaxy again. This is what's going on, and maybe a little bit of now Shin's leading these bandits, and something's going. Ahsoka and Sabine have a little hut set up, and that's sort of where they're living right now. But I don't think that it's going to be 3 or 5 or a 10-year time jump. Would you agree with that? It's going to be pretty close.
I haven't watched it in a while, but where is Jacen at the end? Is he with Hera and all them?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Ezra shows up, I mean, he's not there with Hera, but I mean, he's in that galaxy. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. But is he physically on board, or do we see him go do anything?
We don't see him on that ship at the end. No.
Yeah, because the only reason that I see for it to immediately pick up where season 1 ends up is for that meeting, but you could probably write something that's fine between them, flying around, hanging out, and them talking about it. But I agree, I don't think it's going to be a very big time jump at all. I think it'll be pretty immediate.
This is freaking crazy. Sorry, I'm reading up on this on the side screen here. So somebody did fact check me and said they're called the Nameless. Might have to go read the High Republic books after this one. The Nameless are their actual names are the Shakiraki, whatever. Shakira.
Hips don't lie.
They're called the Nameless. They're creatures who prey on the living Force, thus making them a natural predator to Force-sensitive individuals when they are forced off their home world of Sophros. This is how it fits into the High Republic story. During the High Republic era, the path of the open hand, so I guess this is from Phase 2 before, which knew of these creatures, used them as a part of a crusade to rid the galaxy of Force users. Centuries later, the leader of the Nihil Marauders, who are the main villains of Phase 1 and Phase 3, the Eye of the Nile, Marchion Ro, who possessed the means to control these creatures, intended to use the creatures to bring down the Jedi Order in the Galactic Republic. So, from what I'm gathering, Phase 1 and 3 are all about the Nile and Marchion Ro. He's the main villain. Phase 2 was a prequel 250 years before, and I think that would be where the Path of the Open Hand is, where it explains these creatures and how the Nile got the ability to use them, I guess. So when you don't have Sith Lords to take down the Jedi, what you have are these creatures, and if you look up a picture of them, they look crazy. These creatures that feed on the living Force itself. That's crazy.
I just want to Shaka. Whatever.
And when they eat you, they go Shakira, Shakira.
So you got them who feed on it. You've got the Ysalamari who repel it, and you've got the Vong, not canon yet, who are just not a part of it at all.
Yes. Yeah. So in theory, you would have the Ysalamari be an evolution, an animal that evolved to reject the Force so they could survive in the environments where these Nameless live.
Mm-hmm.
And that would easily explain it, and also give a tie to the High Republic, and also give a tie to Thrawn and Legends. That would be so cool. Ron, are you pulling up a picture of these things? Because they're crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
He just keeps looking up Shakira.
That could be.
Rod's like,
she looks like a female human. I don't know what's going on here.
Well,
he keeps dancing around.
Speaking of hypotheticals, that could be something that Balin runs into on Peridia. Talk about a monster. That's kind of a big deal.
Have you ever seen Swamp Thing, or that's what this guy looks like. That's what these creatures look like.
Is that the Nameless?
Yeah, the Nameless. It looks like the cat that attacks Padme on Geonosis combined with Swamp Thing. That's what this thing is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It is creepy looking, to say the least.
If Shakira was in Star Wars, what character would she be?
This one.
Is this what you're talking about right here?
Yes.
Oh,
that is it.
that's
Yeah.
awful.
Imagine that in live action, though. How would you even pull
I
that
don't
off?
like anything a lot about
like
that.
it's like a Davy Jones dog.
Oh,
Yeah. Got like tentacles coming out of its mouth. Yeah,
Yeah.
the glowing eyes. That's crazy.
Man.
Well, and that's just it. There's so much Star Wars that we can still. I'm trying to pull that one of the glowing eyes up too.
It's time to go read the High Republic books, is what I'm hearing.
How many of them are there?
So there's 3 phases. So there's phase 1, which is right in the. They did it like the Star Wars Skywalker saga. The first phase is right in the middle, then the prequels, then the sequels. That's how they did it. But there's 3 main books, I believe, for each trilogy. Maybe 4 for the last. So it's like a trilogy of books. But there's also young adult books. There's also comics. Like it's
Right.
But I think the main story is just 3 books for each phase.
Let me try that. If this will pull up. They have a little bit more of the glowing eyes. I don't know who she is, but
I think that's Avar Chris, but I could be wrong.
and
There's some really
none
cool
of this
characters.
is canon, though, right? This is all.
No,
Still.
all the High Republic is canon. All of it.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Oh wow.
All of that is canon. Those creatures are canon. They're somewhere in the galaxy right now trying to feast on Force users.
Mhm.
and dance for you.
Yes.
Nick, you haven't read any of these, or have you read some of them?
I read a few in the first phase, then I kind of fell off.
Yeah.
I read most of
Same.
the first phase. And they were great. There's no reason. It wasn't because of the books that I fell off.
No,
I
There's
just
just a
stopped.
lot of them really
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
and
yeah.
I
They,
honestly,
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I read the first phase as the first phase came out, and then there was like a sort of a time gap in between the release of the second phase. And by the time the second phase came out, I was just off of it, so I just forgot to even continue. But
Mhm.
yeah, there was nothing wrong with the first phase. I liked it a
No.
lot. But
It was great.
I feel like
Yeah.
there were other releases that I opted for, but I don't remember which ones.
yeah,
I think Master and Apprentice came out like at the same time that it all started. I don't recall. Maybe like 2019, 2020, something like that.
it was really cool to see it though, because even though I didn't read all of it through, they got their best writers, put them in a room, and said, "Let's make a new everything, new villain, new heroes, new all these characters. Let's make it 3 phases, all these books, and start to finish story." Like they learned from their mistakes of what happened with the sequel trilogy, and they got their best writers and did this, and it worked. I mean, it worked for a great story.
I also think I just looked on Google to see when they came out, and I think I realized why after the first phase that people's interest started to go away, because they came out in 2020 is when they started releasing them. So we kind of had a lot of time
Oh,
to
man.
do
Time
some
on our
things.
Yeah.
And then by the time that time was over,
Yeah.
we weren't all sitting at home reading books as much. So,
Yeah,
Right.
true.
Get me out of the house.
I have heard though that the third phase, the final piece of the puzzle, I guess, was very, very good. Like they stuck the landing, and the ending was really good. I don't know how it ends, but I don't want to spoil it for myself because someday I'll read them. But yeah, I've heard it was really good.
Oh, 50 Thunder. Oh my, I had to double read that. Wow.
What
Good
is this?
comment.
Tales of the Underworld with
No,
Shakira.
it's not Underworld.
Oh, Underworld.
Yes, I see that now.
Nice work.
Yeah, Mike, what is new with Ahsoka? Is there any good leaks that
Well, yeah, there was one from yesterday about a new creature. I'll read it to you. Hang on. Scrolling. Hang on. Wait. Wait. Okay, here we go. All right. It says there's a creature prop on the set of Ahsoka season 2. It's described as a big titan, like a big green lizard. And then they inquired more about this, asking if it was a rancor, because rancors are, a Night Sister thing. The Night Sisters rode the rancors, and showed a photo to the person saying, "Is it a rancor?" And they said, "No, it's more of a snake-style creature." So a big titan creature, green lizard-like, snake-like creature, but big, on Dathomir, because it says, though they aren't 100% sure, they believe it to be connected to the various Dathomir sets and those sequences. So it's not 100% it'll be on Dathomir, but they think it will be. So there was a leak from a few weeks or months back where Ezra, Hera, Jacen, and Chopper, Jacen was there, will be on a mission on Dathomir or separated on Dathomir, and they'll be going through like the caves or whatever, and they come across this creature or something that wasn't on set. It was CGI'd in later or whatever, or maybe not CGI'd, but it wasn't there. And now, this is months later, this leak's coming out about this giant lizard snake-like creature, and that could be the creature that they come across from the previous leak. All I know is giant new creature on Dathomir sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We just got the dragon snake in the Mandalorian and Grogu too, and that thing was awesome. So
we better get those zombies from the game too. If we're on Dathomir, we have to.
Yeah.
Holly says
Plenty
Ezra will make friends with it.
That's true though. Like he could tame it,
Mhm.
and like he has that ability, and it will allow us to show off Ezra's strength in the Force, because he's been just with the Force. The Force is his ally for 11 years, and for people who've never seen the animation, it'll show you that Ezra has this ability to tame a creature. And the only other people we kind of see do that is Grogu. Yeah. In live action, I should say.
And
well,
it's kind of
Ahsoka.
implied. Yeah, it's kind of implied that Anakin does it in Attack of the Clones to the big rhinoceros.
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, true.
But
So that was sort of the Ahsoka thing. The big thing for Starfighter, though, was today, I think it was, or maybe yesterday. There was this thing called CinemaCon, but for Europe, I think. And the people in attendance got a sneak peek at Starfighter. And they got scenes, actual footage from the movie. Now, no video was taken, obviously. Those things are like crazy. But the weirder part is no descriptions have been of any of the footage has been revealed. They saw a lot more than just Starfighter footage. If I can pull this up too. But the fact, like, the rumor is that we're getting a full-on trailer at D23, like a teaser trailer at D23, which is in less than 2 months. So it says, during Disney's Cine Europe presentation today, we hear they presented footage and first looks at upcoming titles for Disney, including Avengers Doomsday, Gatto, which I think is like this cat Pixar movie, Hexed, which I think is also animated, Ice Age, Boiling Point, Moana, which is a live action Moana, Star Wars Starfighter, The Dog, Stars, and Whale Fall, which I don't know what that is. So Starfighter was one of the things that they got footage for.
Papa Boz asked, where do you guys find all these leaks? We actually just make them up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bold predictions.
Pretend we're looking on the computer and
Like, oh, I see here that Anakin Skywalker was actually a girl.
Yeah. No.
Star Wars Newsnet is good though for
Yes.
this kind of thing.
There's this really cool old homeless guy who lives down the street from me, and I go up to him every morning and I say, "What's new, Frank?" And he goes, "Mike, these Star Wars leaks, they keep on coming." And I go, "Thank God." And then I talk about them live every day, and that's my life.
All right.
But I will say, Papa Boz, that I don't know how he does it, but Mike finds all. I mean, after I'm done, or even before trying to come up with new stuff, I like search the internet as best I know how, and I'm like, Mike, where'd you find that? I couldn't find that. So,
Yeah.
so it's not just you, Papa Boz. I have a hard time trying to find a bunch of the stuff as well. But if you look hard enough, a lot of the times it will come up. But like you said, yeah, that Star Wars, would you say net?
Newsnet.
Is pretty good. And even with Chat GPT, I try to be like, all right, now deep dive and go and find me some new Star Wars news. And I'm like, damn it, I still couldn't find that stuff.
You got to get on Claude for that, man. Claude's for that. You want a deep dive to find that stuff? It'll get it. It'll get like right into Lucasfilm's computers.
Nice.
So
All right,
nothing really too new from Starfighter, but getting a teaser trailer in less than 2.5 or less than 2 months is going to be great. That'll give us something to talk about for the next 9 months.
Yeah. And I don't know if we talked about it, if it came out since our last podcast or you were talking about it, and I'm sure you guys have heard it, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about it, is the new leak that says that Lucasfilm and Disney will be putting a movie and 2 other projects out a year.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Nick?
I think it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. I'm into it if I'm not trying to sound like a curmudgeon or, like I know, like I do what I say, Lucasfilm. I think you got to be careful about the formula of what each of them are. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like if like they kind of have to maybe serve different purposes instead of just putting out like awesome shows one at a time. Because I know that sounds weird, but like Mando and Grogu and say Ahsoka season 2, if those came out in the same year, which they probably will in the same 12-month period, those are 2 very different vibes. Like Ahsoka season 2 is going to be made for us and everyone in the chat, basically. Whereas Mando's made for the most baseline Star Wars experience ever for broad audiences. So I think as long as the projects kind of have a different intention, and it's not just like we get Ahsoka season 2, Starfighter, and then the next Mandoverse show all in the same year, I'd be cool with it. I assume it's like movie, live action show, animated show. And if they serve different purposes and different audiences, then I think that'd be the way to do it. Kind of like in a 12-month span, like Andor was very different than anything else that came out next to it. Any sort of Tales thing was very different from Andor, that sort of thing. So I think as long as the formula has like different tones to it, I'm all for it. I'm all for it either way. Who am I kidding? But
yeah,
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. Go ahead, Mike.
No, you go.
That's the thing too. I think that we have so much good stuff to come out, but I also think that Disney and Lucas, as much as some people would not agree with us, and I think you guys will agree with me, the stuff that's been coming out has been good stuff. It's building on other things, or it's building up new things that we'll be able to talk about in Starfighter, or take Starfighter and maybe have a few things in that we're going to talk about in reference to the Simon Kinberg or things like that. But I think that everything that they've been putting out, they're not going to just start, we just got to start just pushing Star Wars out because that's what we need to do to make merchandise and new figures and new cuddly Grogus and all that stuff. I think that they're going to go into this now that Dave has the helm and he has the creative. I feel like it's very similar to George being back there, and he's going to be able to bring us good quality stuff that's all going to intertwine with what we know. But then also, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, they're looking at doing like a new saga as well with different characters, correct?
Yeah, that was part of the same leak. It's all going to be, everything's going to be connected to this new saga. And
And is
I
that
mean,
new saga going to be Mando or is
well, I think the way I look at it is Simon Kinberg's trilogy is going to be that new saga. Whether
Okay.
the Heir to the Empire is going to be part of that saga, you have to remember that the first saga is called the Skywalker saga. So if Luke and Leia are not involved in the whole Heir to the Empire stuff, which they possibly could not be, I don't know how they'll write them out of it, but they might not be involved at all. If they're not, then it won't be a part of the Skywalker saga. It'll be a part, like, you could use it as a prequel to the Simon Kinberg trilogy and be a part of the new saga.
Unless
and not
Skywalker's in reference to Thrawn.
Ooh,
Deep cut.
that's
Bum,
true.
bum, bum.
It's funny because I'm actually really crazy story real quick. I'm a lunatic, just like homeless Frank down the street. When I work out, this one's actually true. When I work out every day, and I go for my runs, I don't listen to music. I listen to Thrawn audiobooks. So when Derek just said Thrawn, I thought he was saying like Thrawn is a Skywalker, like last name Skywalker. So I thought it was a joke, and then I was like, wait, I'm literally listening to it right now. But yes, it could be a reference to that. But if it's not, then you could use it as a prequel trilogy to the Simon Kinberg trilogy and have it all interconnected and be a new saga, which I'm all for. But going back to what Nick was saying, before Derek goes, going back to what Nick was saying, the taking risks aspect of it, yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, Sam Witwer came out and was like saying how everything from here on out at Lucasfilm is going to be just creatives taking risks, like Maul Shadow Lord, like Andor, were the two that he brought up specifically. But yes, you want them to have, a new saga happen. You want them to have a connective sort of idea, but they need to take risks, just like Empire Strikes Back was a huge risk after A New Hope, or etc.
Well, and Sam just said something. Is that what you said? Sam said something about them taking more risks about that, which would be which would be really cool. Derek, what's your thoughts on that?
On taking more risks?
No, on the three projects a year and a new saga.
I think that's a lot to keep up with. I mean, I will never say no to more Star Wars stuff. I think that's a lot of movies for them to keep up with. I think it looks good on paper for them to say that. I don't foresee that happening. I want to, you know what, folks? I hope I'm wrong, because I'm wrong a lot on the show. I'm wrong a lot more than I'm right. So I'm going to say that's not going to happen.
I like the thought of them working on a movie a year. And maybe that means like for the last 2 years, they've been working on Starfighter, and it comes out in some year.
Yeah.
Derek, would you say that my first instinct is like, I don't want them to have to meet a quota and be pushing stuff out. I'd rather wait.
Right. Because we've all, like, especially in the last 10 years, we've been like, more is more with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a fine line of, okay, this is bad. Like, let's just stop. And there's a lot that they could do that's not massive. Like looking at Mando and Grogu. Like, I know the budget was massive, but like, it was a simple storyline that was just so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Could they do more like that? Yes. And then people are like, well, they couldn't take the box office hits. I still say it's a massive success because, they made their money. They didn't lose money. And again, I will say this every single time is merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Merchandise.
I got something to back you up on that too today. I have this from Wikipedia, which of course is all of our very trusted sources.
Yes.
The top searched terms, top 5 searched terms in the month of May and June of this year were at 5, Darth Vader, 4, lightsaber, 3, Yoda, 2, Maul, and 1, of course, Grogu. So yeah, I mean, he's still the top dog. Absolutely.
Yeah. I thought you were saying like those were the top searched in general. I'm like,
Oh.
whoa, Star Wars is coming in hot.
Yeah, on Google.
Wow,
Yeah.
That would be
Google.
wild.
Yeah. So I would also say that when it's time to do the saga, I hope and I don't doubt that it will, but I hope to see Star Wars be as big a deal as it should be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like another year ramp of like a cultural event that is Star Wars. And to Derek's point, I do think it's harder to do that if you have something every single year with the same gusto, you know?
True.
So
Oh, they went on that run of 2015 to 19 of every year five Star Wars movies in a row, and it didn't really. I mean, 4 of those 5 movies made $1 billion. It didn't feel like a lot at the time. I wonder if, and again, it's this very different time. It's not the 80s and 70s anymore, where waiting 3 years is like the normal thing. We're getting like 3 Marvel movies a year. Like we're getting 2 DC movies a year. Like it's a very different time. And to me, like last 6 years on Disney Plus, we were getting 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 shows if you add the animated stuff every single year, and it did not feel like we were getting just punched in the face with too much content. Maybe that's different for some other normie fans, but again, the animated stuff and even some of the live action stuff like Skeleton Crew or whatever, that's not going to be watched by everybody, but it's still, like Derek was saying with the Mandalorian and Grogu, a fun adventure that's this sort of one-off type of thing that they can do a lot of. So for 3 projects a year, it may sound like a lot, and I guess the movie side of things is where we're concerned the most, but it might not be like everything must be watched to see the next thing type deal.
And to be fair, like we had 3 projects this year, if you count Visions, the Ninth Jedi, you know, like technically
does not feel like that much.
Right. I think being in a post Marvel world, because like even up to Rise of Skywalker being kind of the last thing, and then Mando and Grogu, I guess you could count as, you know, a big deal. This is the first one. At that time, Avengers was finishing up. It was at its peak, right? And I think there was a time there where Marvel went kind of nuts post Avengers with content, and it completely kind of changed the public narrative about what fatigue of an IP means. And Star Wars kind of got caught up with that because it was the same ownership, same, you know, kind of got caught some strays in that regard, I think, because I don't think they've fatigued it nearly as hard as Marvel did.
No, I think there was a year for Marvel, 2022 or 2023, where it was like 3 movies, 5 shows.
Yeah, and because of that, like we didn't get a season 2 of Moon Knight.
Right.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Right.
But I think Max brings up a good point. You know, it says, we need 52 episodes a year for Star Wars stuff, which would be awesome. But if you look at it, if we get a animation and a live action, that's 16 weeks. You're looking at possibly 6 to 8 weeks each. So, you know, at the beginning of the year, we have 8 weeks, which is, you know, 2 months. And then we have a little bit of a break, and then we get a movie, which is probably going to be in the theater for nowadays 4 to 6 weeks, if that. And then we have a few more months off, and then we get something else, whether it's probably going to be in animation. And I don't think that's too much, because we've had that before, and it's good quality stuff, and they still have so much stuff to dive into. They're bringing new characters in to this universe that we haven't seen before, and are doing fantastic with them, I think. And I think you guys think so too. You know, look at Skeleton Crew. All 4 of those kids. You know, there's something that they can do with that. So hopefully this will just continue on. And what I was saying, I think on your show, Mike, was it's going to be interesting if they do bring this new saga in, and when you guys just said that, if it's going to be as good, like, is it going to be Star Wars good? And that's what it has to be. because if you try to move away from it, people are just going to freak out. And even I think fans like us, if my big thing, and there's a lot of talk about it now, is like revamping the originals. And I'm like, you can't do that. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what people are going to say about Harry Potter when they drop this whole thing on HBO. But
So
if you were to do that with Star Wars and recast and try to do that, I think it would take away from it. I really do. I think it would take away from the nostalgia of what those three movies in 1970 and 80s were about, and has grown in the last 50 years. So I think that they could possibly do it, and I would gladly love to watch all three of those things a year. But if they stick in the Visions type of thing, me and Mike, I know for sure, aren't going to be like so excited about for the next one to come out, but some people are going to be. Jacob's going to be, Derek likes it. So it's a whole different mix of what's going on, but 2 or 3 projects a year, I'm in.
Yeah, and to me, as a crazy Star Wars fan, I want Star Wars all the time. But I feel like for even a normie fan, the time off between like Andor Season 2 and Maul Shadowlord, there was a couple things in there, Visions Volume 3, Rebuild the Galaxy, whatever. But the time off between those 2 projects, it's like the perfect amount of time to where you go, all right, I watched Andor Season 2, that was great, riding that high. The high comes down, you're like, okay, I'm still good for now. And then by the time Maul Shadowlord rolls around, you are wanting more Star Wars. It's like the perfect amount of time where you're like, okay, I'm ready for more Star Wars now. And then they give it to you. I think, like what Ron was just saying, 2 shows a year that in a movie, it would be perfectly spread out to where you're at the point where by the time the second show comes out, you're like, I'm ready for more Star Wars now, because that hype has sort of died down, and the riding that high of Star Wars being out has died down, and you're ready for the next thing. It's not just smack you in the face with Star Wars, smack you in the face with Star Wars again and again and again and again. There's this lull between them of months and months and months between projects. And even with 3 a year, you're still going to have months and months and months off of Star Wars. So I think it'll be good.
I hope we get more. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
I was going to say, I hope we get more Lego specials. Like
those are fun.
I just adore them. They're so fun. You can watch them anytime. And there's a good reason. There's an NDA reason why they're close to my heart. So,
Ooh.
Well, I will say to that point too, the last one we got, or maybe it was the first one we got. Either way, one of those seasons of Rebuild the Galaxy, the main guy, I'm blanking on his name now, he says like he's telling the whole story of Star Wars really quickly, and then he's like, and next time I'll tell you about the whole Thrawn situation or whatever, but we'll save that for next time or something like that. And now you can do that because Thrawn is obviously coming.
Yeah.
I'll also throw out there that it is also different to think of it now that we have shows that continue in other seasons. When you think of it as 3 projects a year, 3 brand new projects a year, that does sound like a lot of new things. But obviously it's a little different if one of the projects is Season 2 Shadowlord, and that runs a couple of times, or Season 2 Ahsoka. Like we're getting, it's a little different. We just experienced at the dawn of Disney Plus needing to like start the whole thing of a lot of different shows at the same time that sort of started, and they gauged where to go with it.
Yeah, I think Jan has a good point right here. Where I think we just keep to have the movie storyline kind of separate from the shows. Okay, I don't know about that, but we don't want too much stuff where people think that they have to go do homework and do I have to watch this to watch that, and if I miss this so that's the hard part. But I also think that Disney does a pretty good job of that. Look at Mandalorian and Grogu, and look at Maul that just came out. You don't have to be a Star Wars fan or have seen anything in the last 49 years to jump into Maul or to go watch Mandalorian and Grogu and feel like, oh man, I didn't get that. What did that mean? Or so they've done a good job with that. So I think if they keep doing that, you're definitely going to have to. And that's the smart part of Lucasfilm to continue to bring people in that don't have to watch the other 11 movies, that don't have to watch Clone Wars if you don't want to figure out what's going on. And
Well,
I think that they will continue to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I agree and disagree with you on that, Ron, where it's like you definitely don't need to see anything else to love Mando and Grogu. But I think somebody, and maybe Jan said this in one of our past ones, is that the public conception that hurt it because people didn't understand that you didn't have to see this. Like, I still have friends that are like, yeah, I haven't seen it because I'm not caught up on Mandalorian. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a thing that is really happening. So, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's a big
Jane
part
just
of it.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But also with Starfighter, like, you're not going to have seen the entire sequel trilogy or anything, honestly, to watch Starfighter. But to this point, like, the only difference that we're talking about right now in this 3 projects a year is the movie, because we've had more than 3 projects every year for the last 6 years. I remember, I think 2022 was Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Andor, and Tales of the Jedi. Like, those are 4 major projects. Or the following year was Mando Season 3, Ahsoka, and Bad Batch season, something along those lines. Like, we've already been having 3 or 4 big projects every single year for the last 6 years on Disney+. The only difference now is you're taking away 1 or 2 of those projects and adding a movie. And I guess that is a big deal because we haven't had a movie in so long, and there's only 12 or 13 movies in Star Wars' history. But still, that's the only difference. We've been getting a lot of Star Wars content for the last 6 years.
Well, and do you think that a lot of it will ride on next year's movie if they continue? Because unfortunately, as good as we all thought it was, it's not doing as well in the box office.
I think
nowhere near, obviously, where I thought it was going to be, or me and Derek thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the fans liked it, the first weekend had a great weekend, but it's not. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's not a blockbuster. I think it was in my mind, but I also wonder, are they going to be like, oh, you know what, let's do Starfighter, this is going to be great, and if it shits the bed, are they going to be like, all right, let's just put out 3 live action or 2 live actions and a comic, or animation?
I think the big thing to think about is that Disney and Lucasfilm both have a whole new regime of people. So now you have Josh D'Amaro at the head, who is not Bob Iger. Bob Iger is all about the dollars and the board members, where Josh D'Amaro is about fan experience. Obviously, he has to make the others happy, but if they're still making a great amount of money and they have that going on, I think they're going to push through some hard times and use that as an excuse of growing pains. And then, of course, with Lucasfilm and having Filoni and Favreau, I think the same thing. So it's like these movies might not do that well to start, but I think they're going to just keep pushing through the mud and use the excuse of, oh, well, everybody's new. We're just trying to get our bearings. Then we get great stuff out of it.
And my predictions for what Mando and Grogu was going to make were wrong as well, but for the reason that I didn't believe that the point was for it to be like that they were depending on it to make a shitload of money to be able to keep making stuff. I think the reason why they made it was to be able to do it and take a loss if they did. They didn't take a loss, but like, I think to Derek's point, the regime also learned from Solo. Like, they spent a lot on Solo, put it out pretty quickly between saga films, and didn't plan on it making 300 something million bucks, right? Like, and to that end, like a season of Mandalorian's what, 120 million? They spent 160, ended up with 140 with the tax credit. So they spent about as much as they would on a season anyway, and got in the theaters, got quick money, and brought people to Disney Plus. I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Right. Well, and Josh D'Amaro. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think Starfighter is going, we'll see, but like, I think Starfighter is going to be going for the more classic, like, movie success compared to Mando and Grogu.
Yeah, and Josh D'Amaro like took a pretty hard stand defending the movie, and he was like really calling out like media and critics and saying that they heavily exaggerated a lot of this stuff.
Oh, big time. I mean,
So
the
he's proud.
movie
So
the
he's proud.
movie still is going to not lose money, which is honestly not that easy to do nowadays. But it's also still like one of the highest rated audience scores for a Star Wars film. The people who saw it loved it. Like it's still, this is not by any means like this massive sound the alarm end of the world type thing. However, I will say a lot of what we're seeing now, and even like as the movie had its opening weekend and everything, even though it was successful, a lot of it was Disney did not expect this movie to be a massive success. It was more to just reintroduce Star Wars fans to the big screen and not really take a big risk on their first swing, because Starfighter is a risk. A Rey movie would be a risk. Like everything would be a risk, but The Mandalorian Grogu's not. It's fan favorite characters like Din and Grogu, and that's what they wanted. And since it's not going to lose money, that's a big win for them. Obviously, we talk about the merchandise all the time, but still, even in the box office, it's not going to lose money. So that's a big win for them. Now, next year, and I think Nick just said it, but Starfighter is a different, very different beast, because it's now a big risk they're taking, and they need that risk to pay off. Obviously, you got Ryan Gosling being there, which is pretty helpful, and Matt Smith and Amy Adams, and that helps for sure. But is it going to be a very must-see on the big screen Star Wars level event or not? That's going to be the big question.
Yeah, I think it'll. I mean, we're all going to enjoy it, no matter what. But that'll be the interesting thing to see what the dollar signs say for that one. And I think you're right with that. I think the Mandalorian and Grogu was just, hey, here's a fun, cool film with some fan favorites. You don't really need to know too much. Go in and enjoy it. Next year, we got a bunch of big actors coming out in this new movie that, isn't Star Wars, but is Star Wars, depending on who you talk to. But there's lightsabers, and it's going to be a standalone movie, or is it? But I think that next year is going to be that, not make or break it, but like, hey, this is what we got going on, and I think it will do. I think it will do fine. I think it'll do good in the box office.
Well, I think the idea is, if you look at the complaints, I suppose, about the Mandalorian and Grogu, it's too many CGI characters, too many alien characters, I guess, because there's a lot of puppets too. But like people who show their face, it's Colonel Ward, Lord Janu, and that's about it. Like there's not a lot of face people in the movie. But that was a big complaint. The complaints was no lightsabers and all that. And if you're looking at those complaints, like this is the exact opposite of this movie we're getting next year, which is Ryan Gosling's beautiful face smacked on your television screen, or your big screen, and lightsabers out the wazoo. Even though there shouldn't be lightsabers at this point, we'll see. But lightsabers force a lot of faces and a lot less aliens. So if you were complaining about the Mandalorian and Grogu, it'll be interesting to see what they complain about with this one.
Well,
They'll find something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To Jan's point too, I have to believe part of their marketing in the trailers, like the big cinematic trailer, being like some sort of indication that Starfighter is a new frontier, a new story, a new beginning, whatever. That indicates that you're getting in on the ground floor with this one, which might alleviate what Derek was talking about earlier, the very real public perception of like, shit, I don't know even where I can start to get into this. And with something like that, like, and then you have, obviously, like you guys just said, Gosling, Amy Adams, like all the things, especially if it has the hype of new Star Wars. Not that Mando and Grogu isn't new, but it's I don't know, doesn't scare people away in the way that it might if it's related to a show that has 3.5 seasons.
Yeah. Well, Max said, Grifter said it was 2 to 3 episodes mashed together and no character development. I agree.
Yeah, I think that was the point.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's why it's great.
Yeah,
because it was fun.
Yeah, but I'll disagree a little bit. I think there was character development in Grogu quite a bit.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But it was the 3 episodes smushed together, and that's what we wanted.
Totally.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's exactly what we thought it was going to be.
It's probably the meat of season 4 minus the filler episodes. That's what we got in a movie. There you go. That's what we wanted.
Well, and that's what
but
the funny thing is. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say with Starfighter though, like Nick was saying, if it's marketed like it's this new thing, like if the first trailer's going, every saga has a beginning, and it's like this, like that would start something crazy. But yes, Ryan Gosling is gonna sell tickets and all that, but it's got to feel like Star Wars, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't hurt that the biggest movie of this year, or the second biggest movie this year behind Super Mario Bros, is Project Hail Mary, which is Ryan Gosling. It also doesn't hurt that House of the Dragon just started last weekend and it has a 100% of Rotten Tomatoes, and the face of that is Matt Smith. It also doesn't hurt that later on this year is the Green Lantern show, and the face of that is Aaron Pierre, and he's going to be in the movie too. Like that also really helps the movie's, box office.
I think it'll also, because of the risk and because of who's making it, it'll feel very different too. Like even the trailers will probably feel different. The same way, even like, I know it quote unquote bombed, but like Solo looked different in the trailers from the saga films. Rogue One looked different in the trailers from the saga films, and kind of created a different vibe around those movies. And as you guys said before, those all came in a row. So
well, and I don't think that they thought Rogue One was going to do nearly what it did,
right?
Either.
Especially since
I think they knew it was going to be good, but at least I didn't think it was going to be what it was. It's my second favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, especially since they triaged it together, like at the 11th hour.
Yeah, that too.
It's incredible.
Tony
And then we got
Gilroy.
Andor.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the funny thing with, like you were talking about with the aliens and stuff, but go back and look at Andor. I mean, we saw everybody's face. There wasn't very many aliens at all, but
and that was the complaint.
Freaking
yeah, right.
No one's ever happy. Ever.
Right, but what, I mean, that was peak Star Wars. And you're not gonna satisfy everybody all the time. So, but I think that they have a good enough thing going that they can continue to do this, and I think we'll find out with Ahsoka season 2, and if we get something at the end of this year. But it just continues to come out, and I think all of us, our opinion is that it's good stuff. And that's why, the Leia and the Rey book, I'm looking forward to that coming out, because we get to learn a little bit more of what's going on for those sequels, which will hopefully help me, feel a little bit better about them, and just to get more information like that. If you guys haven't, the last 2 comic books for Maul, even though it's gone, and these 5 or 8 episodes, whatever it is, are prequels to it, we find out a little bit more about Lawson. I'm not going to give anything away, but if you guys haven't checked out the comic books for the Maul Shadow Lord, go check them out, because there's little hints and little things in here that we find out about Lawson and things in Maul, and there's pod racing, which is sort of cool, and it also sort of ties in now to the game that's going on. So I mean, it's all good stuff that's coming out, and like we continue to say, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. So, anybody got anything else? Go ahead, Mike.
Yes. On board that Leia and Rey novel that comes out next month. It's called Legacy, I believe. So there's about a year between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and that's when this book takes place. It seems like a lot of that filling in of that gap, like the Clone Wars sort of did for in between episode 2 and 3. That's going to be what also helps the sequels greatly. And as I always talk about the Shadow of the Sith book, but now you're going to have, since Carrie Fisher sadly passed away, you couldn't really have her as a main character of Rise, but you still had the idea that she was training Rey all throughout the course between the movies. And that's how you open up the film, with her training, and then Leia talking to her, and her calling Leia master and all that. And this book is going to give you way more of that, which is the 2 of them together training and going on missions together. Like, that's going to add so much more to the dynamic when you watch The Rise of Skywalker.
And if if you really want to, you can run that side by side with Legacy of Vader comics, which
Yes,
cover the
with
same
Kylo,
ground,
yeah.
but with Kylo
Yep.
Ren.
Exactly.
So
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for being here. We are at we're almost at 2 hours. We got about 40 seconds. So by the time we get done talking about this, we'll be at 2 hours. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys go check out and subscribe to Mike's channel, A Guy Who Loves Star Wars, along with clicking down here and notifying your friends and have them watch the repeat and just build this algorithm up for us so we can get some more people on here and stuff. So but really appreciate everybody that's here. You guys are very loyal. We have our core group here and we got some new people that come in and out, so I really appreciate it. I know these guys do as well, and your comments in here are always welcome. So appreciate you guys doing that. Thank you three guys for being on here again this week, and we will see you next Wednesday on Star Wars Jedi Chat. May the Force be with you. Thanks, y'all.